All right, go ahead.
Hello, this is Good Medicine. We're going to interview a very interesting and fascinating person today. His name is Joe Fingerhut. He has his own entertainment business, and I can't wait for you to meet him. Okay, Joe, here, give me the. All right, Joe, can you tell the world a little bit about yourself, your name, where you come from, a little bit about your background?
I am Joe Fingerhut. I was born and raised in St. Louis, Missouri. I have been to over 33 countries on 6 continents, and I'm based in St. Louis now. I'm married, I have a wife and 2 kids, and occasionally we hang out with Mr. Good Medicine himself, Stephen Elliott.
Well, tell me a little bit, Joe, about this book you wrote. I happen to have a copy of it. It's a fascinating book, and tell me a little bit about the story behind the book and,
Cool.
and your friend and how that inspired you.
All right, well, my book is called Permission to Play, and what I do, I speak to at high schools and leadership conferences and schools and organizations all across America on leadership and success. And my main target audience is teen leadership groups. So the subtitle of the book, well, it's Permission to Play, How Teens Can Build a Life That Is Fun, Fulfilling, and Promising. So the title and the concept comes from this quote from a martial artist who I don't know the name of, but it's when there's no line between work and play, you have achieved true mastery in life. And that's kind of one of my perspectives and philosophies on life. Is my goal has always been to really look forward to what I'm doing when I wake up in the morning. I don't want to feel like I'm going to work. I want to feel like I'm at play. So I've been able to pursue a lot of the things that make me passionate in life. And these days I make a living not only speaking to people, but I'm an entertainer as well. So I do magic and I juggle, I walk on stilts, I unicycle, I DJ, and I do hypnosis shows. Like I said, on top of motivational speaking with that. So I've been able to reach this level that I just absolutely, I never feel like I'm working. I'm at play all the time. I really find a lot of joy in what I do. And I wanted to write a book to convey how to kind of approach that in your life, because the reader, the people that I speak with, they might not want to be, an entertainer, a magician, a world traveler or anything, but every one of us has something that makes us feel like we're playing, and I just want to inspire people to find that and pursue that. So how the book came about, one experience in my life, I had a best friend named Mark, and I met him on the first day of kindergarten, and we grew up together. We played all the sports together, and my mom watched him and his brothers after school, so he was basically like a brother. And in age 14, he was selling newspapers outside of our school. There was a 3-car accident, and he was crushed, and he died. And so that was a big loss in my life, and my aunt was trying to console me at the time, the night before the funeral, and she said, think of all the things that your friend will never have to experience. And I just, at that point, even though I was 14 years old, I knew that she was wrong, that life isn't about what we have to experience, what we get to experience. So I wanted to get to experience everything, because my best friend, my brother, was never going to get to experience anything ever again. So that just changed my life perspective, and I just started trying different things and exploring and really pushing the envelope and seeing how I could expand my environment and horizons and really get the most out of life.
So tell us about some of your trips around the world, some of the stories, some of the things you've encountered, and some of the lessons you brought back you can share with
Cool.
us.
So I was born and raised in St. Louis, never left America, didn't even get on a plane until sometime in college. I wanted to experience life outside of St. Louis, so I went to school in Chicago, had a great time there. And then a lot of my friends had studied in Rome, because we had a study abroad program, and I never got the chance to do that. So at the end of college, I was getting ready to graduate, and I hadn't been outside of America, and I was like, man, have I missed out on an opportunity? Because graduation means jobs and bills, boring. And so I got it in my mind that I was going to go to Europe. And so at first, my dad was like, absolutely not. And then my friend gave me a book on backpacking and how to backpack and how to stay at hostels in Europe and pay $5 or $10 a night and take the Eurail all over the country or the continent. So I bought a plane ticket and a backpack, and I flew to Paris, France, and it did not have a hotel reservation, didn't have a travel companion, and I'd never studied French. But I landed in Paris, and the only plan that I had was that in 2.5 months I had to be back in Paris to fly home. So in that 2.5 months, I went to 12 countries. I got over to Morocco, so I was able to say I went to 2 continents. And I wasn't working. I'd saved up all my money, and I basically used my money while I was there. So, I mean, one of the lessons in that first trip, it blew my mind that, I mean, the main thing was that the world is accessible. Like, I was seeing things that I'd only read about. You know, I saw a lot of major cities, you know, Rome and London and Barcelona and Seville and Munich. I saw all these places. I saw the castle, the Neuschwanstein Castle, that the Disney castle is modeled after. I just thought that was the coolest thing. And it's this amazing place. And I was like, no, like, well, not just the biggest thing of these places are accessible, but the biggest feeling I got while I was in Europe after college was just a little bit of anger, a little bit of disappointment, but just like that nobody ever told me that I could do this. Nobody ever said that, oh yeah, you can do that. You can buy a ticket and you can get a backpack and you can fly somewhere and just go to that country. Nobody had ever told me that. I had to really get out there and see and do it myself. So that just blew my mind wide open. I came back to America. Like I said, I was kind of broke and I got a job because I'm an adult now, that's what you do. But I was slogging along in a sales job. I was not happy. And my heart was in a backpack in Europe. And I was like, how do I get out of this? And my one friend was like, well, you should teach English in Asia. I was like, what? You can do that? So I started researching, and it turns out if you can speak English, you can teach English anywhere in the world. So I found this program called the JET program, the Japanese Exchange and Teaching Program. And the only two requirements were that you have a college degree and you speak English, which was good because I didn't know any Japanese. I knew about as much Japanese as what you learn by watching Karate Kid 2 and playing Nintendo. So I ended up teaching English in Japan for 3 years. I called my brother, who was a senior in college at the time. He moved to Japan and we lived about 10 minutes from each other for 2 years. And in that 3 years, I went to Thailand and China and Hong Kong and Korea and New Zealand and all over Japan. And I met the woman who would eventually become my wife over there. And that odyssey, you asked for lessons, I mean, that really just instilled in me the determination that you can dictate how you want your life to go. I mean, I was determined to be passionate and to keep exploring and find a way to do that. And I didn't give up and just, well, I'm gonna apply for a regular job or something. Like, I moved to Japan and established a life in Japan and made travel a part of my life and made this other culture a part of my life. So that really instilled in me that determination, just keep that going.
So, like, what are your plans for the future? What are your dreams, your hopes, and what things you want to accomplish that are like you maybe think you couldn't do before?
Good question. Things I didn't think I could do before. Well, being a dad and having a family definitely has an effect on your perspective and ambitions. I'm like, my main mission in life, I feel, is to be a good dad. I want to be there for my kids, and I have a 9-year-old boy and soon to be 6-year-old daughter. And generally, while I love and I desire to travel more, when we have the opportunity to travel, it basically means we are going back to Japan to spend time with our relatives there. And I have no problem with that. I love it. I love going back to Japan. But the last time I traveled was about, I don't know, 10 or 12 years ago to a country other than Japan. And there's that place in my heart, that kind of gap. It's like hunger for seeing more countries, and I want to do that, but I also want to raise my kids to be solid global citizens. So I want to establish that foundation living here in St. Louis in America and having that taste of Japan and getting that culture instilled in them in the language. But eventually, as they get older and we get these opportunities, I want to be a part of their global exploration. Like, I want to be with them. I want to go to Africa with them and go to countries that I haven't been to and explore. And my wife and I we've always loved going to the third world areas, like, you know, the lesser, lower socioeconomic areas, because we're rich. I mean, I'm not rich per se, but like in America in general, we are so wealthy, but it's just the norm that you don't even see it. And I love going to, if you go to another country and you go to 5-star restaurants and nice hotels and stuff, that's okay, but it's basically just a nice version of where you live now. I like going to countries where they don't have as much as us, and seeing why those people are often extremely happy, even though they're living very simply. So I want to keep